Kermie is back and ready to get hopping as Odyssey 2 month continues with today's game, Frogger. Let's go ahead and take Frogger. Let's pop it in my Odyssey 2 and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Frogger was published by Parker Brothers and was most likely released in either 1982 or 1983. It is based on the 1981 Konami hit arcade game. It was not released in North America, but it did come out in Europe and Brazil. According to the Odyssey 2 homepage, this port was programmed by Peter Inser. The Odyssey 2 homepage also reports that European cartridges of this game will not work on North American Odyssey 2s, but Brazilian cartridges will. I'm using a Brazilian cartridge for this review, and while it does indeed work, it did cause my voice unit, which is attached to my Odyssey 2, to make noises, including saying ow, ow, ow over and over, as if for some reason this cartridge was causing it pain. However, completely turning down the volume on the voice fixed the problem. I'm unsure if this is a common problem, or if it's just my cartridge, which did require a lot of cleaning to get working, or if it has something to do with my voice unit itself. The manual opens with the following. Leaping Frogger. Home may look like it's only a hop, skip, and a jump away, but looks can be deceiving. First, there's a dangerous highway to hop across, full of cars and trucks. Then there's a swirling river to leap, full of frog-eating creatures. How's Frogger going to get home safely? By letting you hop him on his way. Guide Frogger safely through the perilous journey, and you'll jump for joy. Frogger is an arcade-style game for one player only with one standard mode of difficulty. The game starts up automatically when you turn on your system and uses the right joystick, which is often used for the second player and two-player games. This version of the game divides the standard Frogger screen into two separate screens. For the controls, you use the joystick to move Frogger in one of the four main directions. Pressing the joystick in the desired direction for every single jump you want to do. So if you want to move up 5 hops, you'll need to press up on the joystick 5 times. The goal is to get Frogger into an empty home bay at the top of the river screen within 45 seconds. You start on the road screen, having to avoid getting hit by a vehicle. Once you reach the top, you'll move on to the river screen. As is common knowledge, water is deadly to frogs, so you'll need to avoid landing in the river at all costs. At least the manual tries to cover up this absurdity by saying that the river current is simply too strong for your frog. In order to get to the other side, you'll need to hop on turtle shells that are either blue or pink, logs, and the backs of alligators in later levels. Just don't touch their head or they will eat you. When turtle shells turn blue, they are about to dive and you'll need to get off of them in a hurry. When riding on something in the river, if you go off screen, you will lose a life. On one of the logs is a white lady frog. If you touch her, she will jump on your back, and if you take her safely home to a bay, you will get extra points. Empty home bays in this version are represented by green squares, and once Frogger enters into a green square, it will disappear. I saw another video with another version of this game where Frogger went into blue squares, and once he entered it, a frog took his place, like he does in other versions. It's possible that that's a European version of the game, which may explain the difference from my Brazilian cartridge. Alligator heads and flies can appear in the bays even after they disappear. When a bay does disappear, jumping into where it was will kill you, just like jumping into the water. Touching alligator heads is also deadly, but getting flies will earn you extra points. Once you fill up 5 bays, you will gain extra points and the difficulty will increase. Starting at the second level, an alligator will replace one of the logs. Starting in the third level, a second alligator will appear. And starting at the fourth level, a snake will appear at the bottom of the river section. I wasn't able to get any farther than that, but according to the European manual, as you continue going, the difficulty will continue to increase, including adding more diving turtles. You get 5 lives per game, and when your game ends, a new game will soon take its place automatically. Scoring wise, you get 10 points for jumping Frogger forward, 50 points for getting Frogger into an empty bay, 1,000 points for filling all 5 bays in a level, 200 points for taking a lady frog home, 200 points for eating a fly, and 10 extra points per second remaining on the timer when you enter a bay. The game will save the high score until the system is reset or turned off. However, this is one of the very few Odyssey 2 games where you cannot enter your name after getting a high score. Graphically speaking, this game is actually pretty good by Odyssey 2 standards, and features one of the coolest opening screens with a cute winking frog. Sound and music wise, the game opens with an impressive rendition of the Frogger theme, but for the most part, it just contains basic sound effects. Family friendly wise, the game would most likely get an E for everyone rating if released today. Currently at PriceCharting.com, the game has a value of $37 loose, $59 complete, and $142 new. So what did I think of Frogger on the Odyssey 2? This is a surprisingly decent port of the game. I really like the opening screen, and the fact that the game is split into two screens actually works well in this case. There are some things that take a little getting used to. The game is actually pretty challenging at first, especially trying to get into the first bay on the left side, and the fact that alligator heads can pop up in empty bays at almost any time. When Frogger jumps sideways, it also feels slightly longer than in other ports I'm used to playing. This meant when moving sideways, I had to be very careful. In between some vehicles, there simply wasn't enough room to move, and on some lily pads, trying to move a little to the left or right would put me right into the river. I also struggled a little bit using the Odyssey 2 joystick at first. It takes more force than I'm used to make Frogger hop in any given direction, and there were a few times where I meant to hop to the side, but I hopped forward instead. But as I got more deliberate with my joystick movement, I was able to navigate pretty well. So in the end, this is a version of Frogger that took me a little longer to get into, but once I got into it, I actually had quite a bit of fun. So where am I going to rank Frogger on the Odyssey 2? It's going right next to the last game I reviewed, Super Cobra, which is currently at the 5th position. And while I like both games, I do like Frogger a little bit more. So out of the 10 games I've reviewed for the Odyssey 2, Frogger's hopping into the 5th position. There are better ports of Frogger out there, and the Odyssey 2 port does take a while to get used to, but it still does a decent job bringing Frogger fun to the system. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me both on the Facebook and the Twitter, and click the bell so you don't miss any future videos. At this time, I'd like to thank Rocky Raccoon for nominating today's game and supporting the show on Patreon. If you get at least $1 worth of entertainment per month from these videos, please consider joining my supporters at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Not only will you help keep the show going, but you could also become a part of the nomination process for some of the games I review. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, and to my Odyssey 2 voice unit, I just want to apologize if I accidentally caused you pain by playing today's game and ignored you by turning your volume off. I'm sorry.